We're going to call the meeting to order at 6:05. I know. Am I echoing? Okay, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Can we get roll call, please?
Chair Lufus.
Here.
Vice Chair Monroe.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia. Absent. Commissioner Harrell.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
And Commissioner Mitchell.
Present.
We have a quorum with 6 present.
Great, thank you. That brings us to our first community forum. Anyone wishing to address the commission on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda and which is within the jurisdiction of the commission to resolve is requested to submit a completed speaker card to the commission secretary. When called upon, each speaker should step to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. The conduct of the community forum shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes, with each speaker limited to 3 minutes pursuant to the Vallejo Municipal Code, Section 220.300. Do we have any speakers?
Through the chair, currently do not have any members of the public signed up to speak on this item. However, I did start a 2-minute timer, which is reflected on the top left corner of our screens. If any member of the public signs up within the 2-minute window, I'll be sure to let you know, but feel free to carry on with the agenda as stands.
Great, thank you. Number 5, consent calendar and approval of agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the October 8th, 2025 agenda and the approval of the September 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Great,
Okay.
roll call.
Chair Lufus.
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe.
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 yeas.
Great, thank you. Item 6, presentations and commendations. 6A, the update on new and upcoming lost businesses. So I went ahead and did over the last 3 months, and there were 8 new licenses that were actual businesses, brick and mortars in the city of Vallejo, one being the Butter Pecan Bake Shop. And then another was Legends Breakfast and Lunch, which is at 605 Tennessee. I believe that was the old Sushi Obsession. I'm not 100% sure. But there were a few other actual brick and mortars. 3 on Springs Road I thought was interesting because it looks like a little up and coming, and I know that we have some street diet happening there where the street's going to be redone, so that's exciting. I also tried to look at businesses that were that I would assume were renewals based on the fact that their addresses said on file, and over from July, August, September, there were well over 30. So that seemed to be a positive in that way. And then there were 6 businesses that I know are already established, but it looked like they were getting a brand new license. So I'm wondering if our good folks at HDL are doing a great job tracking down people without licenses and making sure that they are getting business license for the city of Vallejo. That was one other thing. And then I also wanted to just bring up, last meeting, we had a speaker from Jean's Auto who was speaking about having to get a business license for her trust because she rented to herself. And I did research on that and found that it is actually completely normal for that. A business of renting is does require a business license, not just in Vallejo, but in almost every county in California, including Napa, where she lives. So whether or not we were enforcing it or not, or like I said, HDL is just kind of on it, and they're getting people, making sure people are licensed. That might be the situation, but it actually is common practice for a trust or anybody, if you're renting commercial space or renting a residential, renting is a business and requires a business license. So I just wanted to put that on the record. And then,
Through the chair, just for the record, Commissioner Garcia has joined the meeting at 6:10.
great, welcome. Okay, all right, and then the item 6B is a presentation on the neighborhood development strategies training that I attended, and I kind of, I brought a show and tell. So this is the manual that I received from the training, and some of the notes that I have that I wanted to bring attention to were, we've kind of spoken on a few, one being identify specific neighborhoods in different areas, encourage those areas to hold events, and create district pride. And I think the city's doing a great job with that by advertising people to do neighborhood events, saying, hey, we're here, you can do these events all throughout. Doesn't have to be downtown or in or larger areas of Vallejo, can be anywhere. And then another was not duplicating marketing efforts, like amplify what's happening rather than competing. So for instance, there's a haunted Halloween thing that some of the local businesses downtown do, but this year another event's happening downtown during the same time, and we just happened to learn about this, so sending them the information so they can actually come together and create like a synergetic event, not competing event, I think is very helpful. So visit Vallejo's website that lists all the events is a great way for people when they're planning to go onto the site and make sure that they're not, competing for the same audience in a different part of the city. So, and then of course, everyone wants everyone to start a newsletter. So that's something this body has spoke about before, but I'm not sure if that's something that it's in the work plan for this year. And then another thing was equality and equity don't just mean, income or race. It also means childcare, information, access to information, different languages. So if and when we do forums or we try to reach out to the community to be, just conscious that there are people out there who can't make it because of childcare, and having childcare would make a world of difference, especially in town halls, whether it's us or the police department or any other body. Just making sure that everybody in any situation has the opportunity to attend. That was another big one. So I think everything else we're doing an amazing job, and it's all in our work plan. So I'm just gonna stop there. But does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Harrell.
Yeah, you indicated that over the past 90 days, we had about 30 businesses, plus or minus, that seem to be renewing or reestablishing, and it might be the result of outreach by the contracted HDL. One of the things that could be happening, a new business license as opposed to a renewal, could be the result of businesses selling. So is there any way that we can look to see ownership transition or ownership change of the businesses to drill down more to know, is this just HDL, or actually are people buying existing businesses within the city, which is a very positive place. I almost brand that as a new business when an owner says, I'm willing to invest in this. That's right up there with new business situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think we could research that further just by going to the business, visiting them as we would do it, like do an outreach, seeing if they are a new owner or just somebody who maybe they changed their status from LLC to sole proprietor, and that would force them to change their information for their business license as well.
Yep.
But that is another way that we could, or another reason why we could do outreach to businesses.
So, and I know that your plate is full like everybody else's. Were you able to compile the list of businesses and addresses so that we can divvy it up and I could visit 5 and somebody else could visit 5, et cetera?
I do have it, I can send everyone the list if they would like.
Okay.
And the information is by business name and address,
Okay,
so it's perfect.
that's excellent.
Yeah,
So-
that's great.
So
Okay.
if you could do that,
Yeah.
I would be happy to reach out to some of those businesses
Okay.
personally. And I would
Great.
presume we have other people here that would do the same.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And I'd also just want to mention that, I just went back a month, like around June, July-ish, and there was a huge surge of business licenses for food trucks. And so I think that was probably due to all the events
August
that we were
nights.
having, not just August Summer Nights, but like the waterfront and everything. So that was another one that I saw that was a lot. And maybe that has something to do with the program that Vallejo started with having the street vendors make sure they're licensed or they would get fined. So that was also another increase in business license that I saw.
Sure.
So that was great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Monroe?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I actually had a question, and maybe the city attorney can chime in on this one, regarding the tobacco resale ordinance. I've seen a number of changes in the stores. A lot of the stores are cracking down, not selling flavored tobacco. I've seen that community really take, responsibility and accountability and holding themselves to a new standard of which Vallejo is operating with these tobacco shops. But I've seen a lot of ownership change as well. Is that like a smooth process? How do you think that process is going right now with that situation regarding the tobacco ordinance?
So my department only does the enforcement after anything is passed over from code. But I did touch base with Director Pollitt maybe 2 weeks ago about this very topic. And so she did inform me that it's going pretty well. They've been doing a lot of outreach in conjunction with the county and some volunteer agencies that have a grant for helping to do outreach and education. So code has gone along on some of those and talked to some of the retailers, and they're, I guess, relatively happy with progress. There have been a couple that did not receive licenses, and so they're going to have to follow up with those because they are no longer eligible to receive licenses as we're beyond the number. So they'll be doing that follow-up later on. But as you point out, they've been doing some back checking, and, majority definitely have been working towards that compliance. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, Attorney Nebb, do you have any, off the top of your head, any idea of how many businesses are displaced through this process? How many businesses how many of those businesses that sold such products, tobacco, let's eliminate the flavored, sold tobacco products are no longer allowed to do so? And is there any projection as to how many of those businesses will sustain without such sales?
I don't actually have that number. That may be something that we can ask Director Pollitt to give a little bit of an update on, just in a memo format, and we can bring it before the commission. There are some. Whether those are, let's call them mini marts or other types of businesses that could replace that product potentially with something else, or whether that is just not economically viable based on profit margin, I can't say at this point in time, but I can ask her if she has some idea, and we can get back to the commission on that. Sure.
Thank you. So just circling back about training, we do have one more paid training in November So if anyone, if any commissioner would like to attend that training, just let me know. I can give you all the information, dates, times. And if anyone would like to take these books or book home, review it, look at it, is fine. I feel like they should stay eventually in the Director's Economic Development Office. I don't own it, so like, for future commissioners, so. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah, Madam Chair, is it possible that those documents are scanned? Because it seems to me that it would be of use not only to our commission here, but to any incoming people that apply to be a commissioner in this group, in this commission. But I think it's even broader because the information it crosses all commissions.
Yeah, no,
to me.
there actually is a PDF format,
Okay.
but they just send you something tangible so that you
Yes,
can
yes,
hold
so
it.
you
and-
can feel
well,
good.
because this is also this is actually a class. Like people who take these classes are generally working towards becoming an economic development director. So it's actually schooling,
Sure.
and that's why, hence the booklet. So.
And Madam Chair, Attorney Nebb kind of gave us the look, so you got to ask her to speak.
It is possible and/or maybe even likely that those materials are protected by copyright law and that we would not be able to copy and disseminate them. So we should look into that before we take any action to do that. Sorry. Thank you.
So for now, we have this printed copy that we can pass around.
Maybe let's go with those who attended the classes have paid for those materials and can look at them themselves, but whether or not you can share them for people who have not attended and paid for said class is an intellectual property question that we would need to answer
Okay.
or seek permission, which
Sure.
may be
I actually
within.
can ask them, so I'll ask.
You could ask them. Yeah,
Okay.
that would work.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
the clarification. Okay, if there's no other questions, we can move on to item 7, a report from the committee board secretary.
Okay, good evening. Very short this evening. The first thing is if you have not RSVP'd to the Commissioners and Boards Appreciation Event, please do so before this Friday. The event will take place on October 30th, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. The next update, I wanted to give you an update on your business highlights and shop local ad hoc subcommittee. You established this through resolution last year on October 9th, 2024. So essentially, this is expiring tonight. And that is it of that ad hoc subcommittee. The last thing is your budget hasn't changed since the last meeting. And finally, I'm looking at your website, and we'll be recommending a few updates through the chair, and hopefully we'll see a couple of updates soon on your website. That's all I have.
Commissioner Harrell, do you have a question?
Yeah, coming from private industry, I have a different perspective on celebrations. It seems like we do a lot of celebrating. And I understand that they're good for morale, but I also understand that there's a cost, et cetera. We're going to have, I can't attend, I'll be traveling, but there's a commission and board appreciation event that takes place. We're celebrating, and yet we've not, as a body of all commissions and boards, actually been in the same room for the purpose of business. And I'm just curious, does anybody know, is that something we're not allowed to do, or is it something that we wouldn't find of value to find collaboration with other, potentially collaborating with other commissions or other commission members? Because oftentimes we don't know who is a commission person and who is not, unless we were attending this particular meeting. So is that, do I need to make that more succinct? So we do a lot of celebrating. Here's another event that's a celebration, a party. That's fine, great. We got business to attend to to a degree that's far more important, in my opinion, than a party. Is there a reason that we as board members and commissions are not brought together in a business environment, in a meeting environment, to see what intersectionality might be able to be derived by working with other commissions or other commission members. So it's a broad question, but I'm just curious, does anybody know why the
Well, I would-
celebrations as opposed to the business?
I would think that if we were to, I think we could visit or have meetings with other commissions, as long as we were only one or two of each commission, so we would not have to, we wouldn't be tied to the Brown Act. But anything discussed in there would be to do with the commission, so maybe it would be inviting a commission to speak, another commission to speak, or we go to another commission, listen in to see what they're doing, check their agenda, and maybe ask to speak at theirs. Because I don't think, unless Attorney Nebb has, that we could actually just have a conversation without it being a Brown Act violation.
Okay, so everything you just said was accurate. However, we can schedule, but this is a little bit of that intersectionality question. We can schedule joint meetings. They were noticed as a meeting of both bodies. So as for instance, the council this year had a joint council meeting, planning commission meeting, when we were talking about some housing legislation. And so I think that if there were something specific, you would all have to kind of think about, well, what's the specifics of something that has an intersection between your roles and responsibilities and the roles and responsibilities of another body that would be of common, not just interest to both, but common, I don't want to use the word action, that's kind of harsh, but I'll call it common duties of both, or common where your issues touch, including just if they just kind of touch as opposed to have direct crossover. Because it's important, I think, to know that no two commissions are working at cross purposes, certainly. So we could notice a joint meeting, provided we could get a quorum of each body here. So it's a little bit, there are a couple of things that make it, I'll call it a challenge. Not impossible, but a couple of things that make it a challenge. One, that issue of the intersectionality and is it within the purview of both. Two, getting a quorum of both bodies at the same meeting at the same time. And three, meeting space availability, which is at a premium lately and kind of hard to get, so to speak. But that can be scheduled through the city clerk's office. So if commission members are interested in that and want to explore it, then I think you would reach out to Yvette and say, you know, I'm interested in maybe a joint meeting with X, I'm not going to name one, I'll fill in the blank commission, and then we can look at and vet where those common interests might be and talk to the city clerk's office about what kind of availability there might be, and the chair of that other commission as well, which might be something, Chair Lucas, that you would like to reach out to that chair and have that initial discussion once somebody identified one that was a maybe, and see if there's interest.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does that answer your question?
It does, and one of the reasons that I frame the question or present the question is because in my understanding of the role that we have as advisory, we need as much information as we can get from the actions and activities that other commissions are taking. We, you know, my reality is beautification even, just to put that one out there. Yeah, that has something to do with our economic development, you know, and there could be others that we can identify and name. But there, you know, what are the goals that we have collectively, and then what are we all doing to get to that goal?
Yeah, great
Because
question.
there's work plans, and those are complex, they can be complex, relatively complex documents, but we're not reading all the work plans of every other group, right?
Or if they even have one.
Oh, well, that's a different story too, but you understand. So
Yeah.
that's the framing, that's the reason I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that on.
No,
there.
that's great, thank you. And we can touch on that. I believe we do have alignment, a strategic alignment part of the work plan. So
Good.
I think that should definitely be one of the first places we look to align. Great, okay, so that moves, oh, sorry, Yvette, did you have another?
Was it? Thank
That was
you.
all? Okay, great. Are we, okay, so now we move on to our action calendar. A, adopt an EDC resolution to create an ad hoc subcommittee for business retention and expansion, focusing on Sonoma Boulevard Business Cluster and appointing members to the same. So this would be a subcommittee that would meet once a month and report back to the commission, our monthly meetings. And it would be in discussion of ways to reach out, doing business outreach, or market, whatever business retention and expansion focus the subcommittee would like to focus on. So do we have members, or do we have to adopt it and then select members, or can we?
Right. It's all one
Discussion.
resolution, but
Yeah,
I
so
think
we
you should go
discuss it.
over
Okay,
the resolution itself, if I
yeah,
can find
so
it.
it's in the,
So the resolution itself appears on page 12 of your packet.
yep.
It sets forth three things. The charge, power, however you want to use that phrase, of the subcommittee, its duration, which is set in this at 1 year, and the number of members, which I think we set at 3, which is the maximum it can be. It can be 2 if 3 aren't interested in doing this. It can't be 4, or then it can't be an ad hoc, so that's the issue there. And then section 4 of this resolution is kind of a fill in the blank, so you can talk among yourselves about who might want to do it and decide who's going to be appointed, and that goes into the resolution before you adopt it.
Okay, so Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, yeah, I have a couple of follow-up questions about our subcommittee process. So my first question is, how many subcommittees do we have?
None at this time. Maybe one? We have one except for, yeah.
Okay,
So we're starting from scratch now.
we're starting from
Yeah.
scratch. Okay, and how many subcommittees have we requested that have not been addressed so far? In total, let's say in the last 12 months.
Oh, there were a few.
Yeah, if they haven't been agendized, they haven't moved to the agenda, so you haven't addressed them.
Why are they not on the agenda?
I believe that we were waiting, well, we had a business retention and expansion. We had the business highlight shop local. And so we wanted to add subcommittees from the strategic plan, or the work plan specifically. And I think that now that we have it, we just have not re-agendized it. So the ones that we were looking to do, one was public safety and economic viability, but we need to come up with the details. So I think the reason why they were not agendized is because we needed to have a clear and direct, specificity of what the subcommittee would be doing, and making sure that they weren't already, there was not already a body doing that.
And how many times in the last 12 months have we talked about subcommittees and subcommittee creation? If, not at all?
Well,
I am surprised to hear that.
the subcommittee creation, we can have a subcommittee if we agendize it and say, this is what the subcommittee specifically is going to be, then we absolutely can. So we can do that right now. So if we were to add another subcommittee, sorry, let's just work on this one. So this subcommittee is specifically for business retention and expansion, focusing on Sonoma Boulevard Business Cluster. So the duties that are in this resolution are listed. These are the things that we will be focusing on. So does anybody have questions on these?
I looked at about 6 months of transcripts of this. I evaluated months and months of transcripts of these meetings, and I would like to say that we have talked about subcommittees multiple times. We have discussed what these subcommittees should do. In fact, as recently, well, maybe not recently, depending on prerogative, June 2024, we actually had 4 that we named: retention, innovation, technology, and public safety, that were supposed to correspond with our work plan. Our work plan details the purposes of the functions of these roles so that we can work on this. We are not required to have a work plan to have subcommittees. We have discussed subcommittees multiple times, and so my question remains, why do we not have subcommittees on our agenda? We cannot get a work plan done in a reasonable amount of time if we do not have subcommittees on the agenda.
It is
And time again, we come here and there are not subcommittees on the agenda. And so I would like to again ask, what is the rationale for not creating subcommittees in this commission that is budgeted to do work?
So the resolution that we're looking at is a subcommittee that we agendize.
Right, but the question is, again, there is a broader question here of why we have this subcommittee, but we have requested multiple subcommittees, and only some of them are appearing on the agenda and others of them are not.
Okay, so to answer your question, I remember the public information, the technology one, we didn't feel, there was no specificity. What are we going to do we needed to come up with a clear plan of what that subcommittee will work on monthly. Bring that information monthly back to this commission. And so without that, we couldn't create that subcommittee.
So are
The public safety subcommittee, we already have a public safety commission. So would it be working again, in tandem with that commission, or would it be a completely separate subcommittee? And how would that work? We already have a commission that's doing public safety. Those were the 2 issues with those. If we had a specific plan of action, we could agendize it rather than just talk to it, move it to step 2. Because in the instances that you're speaking of, those were all step 1s that we could not move to step 2 because we did not have enough information or detail to move it to step 2 to actually make it a subcommittee.
But then what is the purpose of the work plan? The work plan details what those subcommittees would do. If I recall correctly, I don't know that the last time that we met, did we all discuss the subcommittee on Sonoma Boulevard and is there a monthly plan for Sonoma Boulevard?
We did, actually. We did, and we approved it.
For the next 12 months, there's a monthly plan. I don't see a calendar here. And so
No, that's what we're doing. We don't have members yet.
Right, but
We need to get members and have them discuss when that will be, what the agenda will be, who's going to run it, where it will take place. That's all for the members. We don't have that because we don't have members yet.
I would totally agree with that, and I guess the question that I would ask is then why is that process not consistently applied to the other subcommittees that we've requested, that I have requested to show up on the agenda month after month after month? And the thing is we have a budget, we have a work plan, we have a description of that work plan, and if there are questions about what needs to be resolved in order to even get to step 2, we will be 3, 6, and 9 months in the making. I don't know about all of you, but I know many of your terms end next year. So just sit with me for a moment. Project this. We cannot even discuss or make recommendations until something is on the agenda. Is that correct? Nodding, okay? So if I surface something in this room, in this forum here today, it will not even make it to the agenda. It will make it to a proposal so that we can discuss if it should go on the agenda, and that will be next month. So that would be October. So float with me on this, okay?
But I just want to interject,
But-
that is the way that it
I'm
works
not-
for city council as
yes,
well.
I'm explaining
It's not just
that.
this body.
I'm explaining this, but it doesn't work like that if we have subcommittees that we can discuss this with. And I know that we have talked about that as an instrument to do this, but those things are not moving forward. And the thing that I'm highlighting is the fact that we have a subcommittee here, which is great. This is good progress. But the fact of the matter is that we are not moving forward with enough subcommittees to fulfill the pages and pages of work plan that we have signed up to do. And so, again, bear with me, if we propose something outside of these subcommittees today, month of October, we'll get to vote to see if it goes on the agenda in November. All right? No?
No.
It'll go on the agenda in
No,
November.
if we, at the end of this meeting, at the end of the last meeting, we said, does anybody have anything they would like to agendize for the next meeting? And nobody said anything. This meeting, we would agendize it for next, we would have the conversation about what it's going to be, what will be discussed, and then move to step 2 and vote. So if theoretically, we would have a subcommittee by December. To answer your questions, because we've already discussed the information technology and the public safety commissions, which I believe are the 2 that you're discussing, but we had discussed 2 meetings ago that we could create a subcommittee that's just the work plan subcommittee, in which we could discuss anything we wanted to. So we don't have to be specific to the work plan. We hold ourselves hostage to it. We can just have a work plan subcommittee with just 3 people who want to push a certain agenda forward to do with the work plan. It does not have to be specific.
Let me finish my thought because I was interrupted. So if we had an agenda item and we carried it, if I propose it today and we voted on it in November, and then we won't discuss it, we won't have a December meeting because it'll be the holidays, so we'll likely cancel our December meeting, which we have done at least since I've been here. That means that we won't discuss it until January. And then if we want to make a formal recommendation to council, we will have to decide if we want to write that recommendation. We'll have to decide if we want to discuss it. We'll have to decide if we would like to lobby to go in front of city council to present it. So then that puts us into February and possibly March of next year, assuming that we actually have all our ducks in a row, and that happens every single month going forward. Now, the question that I have is, if some of us are actually leaving this commission next year, or our tenure is up in 2026, what do you hope to accomplish between now and next June? Feasibly, without subcommittees. And so my point is, I don't care if they're called the technology subcommittee, I don't care if they're called the innovation subcommittee. The fact of the matter is that we need mechanisms to be able to do business and to have discussions and to move the work plan forward outside of this body. And right now we don't have any. And I know that we're spending all of our time here, we're very smart, intelligent, capable people, but we need to have this on the agenda, and I have brought it up kindly many, many, many times.
Okay, so can I respond? So we can meet. You and I, you and Calvin, 2 people can meet and have a quick discussion about say, hey, I want to bring something to the council. Okay, next meeting, put it on the agenda. That's fine. If you have something to put on the agenda, or you want to say, hey, I'd like to bring something to council that I saw, I think they should be looking into XYZ, and I'd like to write a memo, that does not have to be agendized. You can go speak at city council on behalf, as many times as you want.
I cannot speak on behalf of this commission. And so,
No,
the
if
thing
you-
that I'm surfacing, again, is I'm imploring.
No, I
cannot. So the thing that I'm surfacing, again, we have this opportunity. Certainly, let's get a subcommittee on the books. But what I am saying is that one subcommittee on Sonoma Boulevard, I am asking what the process has been to get to this point, because we just talked about this last meeting, but we have many other subcommittees that we have talked about that for some reason have not made it onto the agenda. And so, for whatever reason that has been, I would like to clear those up now so that when we meet the next time, we have some subcommittees, we have some mechanisms to work as a body through the work plan that we approved.
Okay.
And I
so-
think that is a reasonable request, given the number of times that I have requested it on this dais.
Okay, so we've had those things agendized, and we have not been able to move them to step 2. I don't know, I do understand that they have not been thought out enough or discussed enough or with enough specificity that we could move them to step 2.
Then how do we do
I understand your
that?
frustration, but we've had those, you're right, they've been agendized many times, but we could never move them to step 2 because we did not have the information required to actually make a subcommittee from
Then
them.
whose responsibility is to move that information through, and how do we get it there?
If
And
you
so-
put it on the agenda, that means that you had an idea that you would like to create a subcommittee.
Sure.
Then you came and you said, this is what it would be, it would align this, and then Attorney Neb said, we already have a public safety subcommittee, we don't need that again. We already have a public safety commission, we don't need a subcommittee for it.
Right, and
Then-
understanding is that, again, we would have an opportunity to discuss those things. But what I'm saying is we
can.
we neither have an opportunity to discuss those things technically to move them forward, but yet, and still, we had a very similar level discussion last meeting, and now we have a subcommittee. So what I'm illustrating here is that it sounds like, from what I understand, is that we have brought up subcommittees. There may be details that we need to clarify those subcommittees, but there is actually a process in place for us to move those things forward. We are just not following that process.
We are following that process. You were not here at the end of the last meeting when we said, would anybody like to agendize something for the next meeting? And nobody agendized another subcommittee. Nothing else, nothing was agendized at the end of last meeting. The meeting before that, we agendized to create a subcommittee.
Yeah, through the chair. So I did, you have a great memory. I do remember the list of subcommittees that were proposed. I remember adding them to a draft agenda, meeting with you to go over them. There was an effort to push them forward, Commissioner Garcia. And, through the review process, they go through multiple people of review. Once it gets to city attorneys, she questions what's the purpose, the specificity, and then they get removed. I think that we're missing communicating that process and
Thank
bringing
you.
back and giving you an update as to what happened to those items. Something that we
appreciate
can
that.
improve on, and I'll definitely add that on my reports, why an item could not move forward. But again, there was an effort to do that, I do remember, and they were too broad. That was the issue.
I appreciate that, Secretary, because what that demonstrates is we actually did not have the conversation to follow up on that request. We're having it right now, and I really appreciate that validation rather than being told that we have some process that we are following. I think it would be a great addition. I loved your suggestion of coming back and actually updating the agenda. I think that would be great. The thing that I would like to come back to is those subcommittee items and expressing those. We can certainly have a discussion on it on this point, future agenda items, et cetera. But again, I implore this body as well as the audience to really recognize without these subcommittees, they are really crucial to this body doing just the basic fundamental functions of this commission.
I wholeheartedly agree. Nothing that I've ever accomplished on this commission has been done without a subcommittee. We had multiple subcommittees, and they've all expired because we're working on other things, the work plan, whatever the other things were. However, we can agendize them for the next meeting to put these on. If we discuss very detailed what we plan to do with these subcommittees. As Secretary has mentioned to me many times when we have our meetings that subcommittees aren't meeting, we're not doing anything. If you remember, we had the Business and Retention Subcommittee with Director Nyman. We used to go out every month, he would report, you have to meet, you have to do these things, and it isn't necessarily a set agenda, but it is getting together to try to move things forward. And maybe some months nothing happens, but at least you meet and that's where the work gets done, and then it's brought back here, and then we discuss it as a body. To go back to something that we've discussed at length, and that is memos. And memos can be brought to this commission, and then we can agree on a memo that can go to City Council. Is that correct?
Yes, provided you've agendized going over that memo.
Yeah.
But I want to put out two things. With regard to establishing a subcommittee, so assuming that it gets through step one, and that's where they all were, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So confirming the step one process. Step two can happen one of, I think, possibly two ways. One maybe truncates or makes the discussion a little easier, and the other makes the discussion potentially a little harder when it comes before you. So if the individual who proposes the subcommittee, who brings it up to take to step one, communicates with staff, Yvette, myself, Gillian, what's the idea? What are the charges? And that can be done offline. Then those would be the items we would bring forward, similar to this, for then you to vote on, take away from, add to. You have that discussion, we modify the resolution in place.
Yeah.
And so I think that the thing that we're missing is that discussion. Staff can guess,
Sure.
I think, but
Your
if we
psychic
don't
ability.
guess properly, that
Yeah.
this discussion gets very long on each of the tasks, where here we had some good background information and we're able to bring that forward. I'll call it fairly well-baked. So I do think that if there are 3 or 4 that have not carried forward, and I don't know who made the motion to try to carry them forward, if before your next meeting, you really want to adopt them, in other words, at the next meeting, approve all of those subcommittees, if there's 3, 4, however many there are, that have gone past step 1, they've gone through step 1, then if the proposer could contact staff and we could vet what you want the tasks of that subcommittee to be, they could come forward, like this one has come forward, pretty well baked, and maybe you just do some minor tweaking here, appoint the members, and you're off. Does that make sense?
That's really, really helpful, because I think what I'm hearing is that some of this background conversation is happening and can continue to happen, but maybe doesn't include some of the folks on the dais. And we can, going forward, include some of the folks that may want to initiate or at least bring those things forward to discussion.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I did have one comment, Chair. I think the way that this, and I do respectfully, Chair Garcia, and sorry, the Commissioner Garcia, I know you put all those different out there. I think I do remember hearing that conversation of us not being able to get them to step 2, quite honestly. But this one in particular, I remember the key focus regarding all this was really, I don't want to blame it on Matthias, but he came up here and started giving a really good speech about all this development going on Sonoma Boulevard, and then that kind of furthered this conversation to create a subcommittee based on, his statements that were made about the improvements and developments that's going to start happening on Sonoma Boulevard. So I think that might have been part of the discussion that made it concrete. Maybe. I can't really definitively say that, but if it had to go through all these review processes, we actually had pretty much a testimony from a city council member, and then we kind of just started continuing that conversation and created our own ad hoc committee. And I think that might be why this has been expedited so efficiently. But I think the subcommittee process is pretty good. Of course, with the lack of our director right now, we kind of in the loop, we don't really know what kind of direction to really go without the director, quite honestly, because the business retention and recruitment effort was outstanding. We went out to several businesses, major key holders in the city of Vallejo, and tried to get, pretty much progress reports and updates from them. I think that was a really good subcommittee. However, there have been a couple subcommittees that, that weren't as effective or efficient. And quite honestly, Chair Lufus was carrying the load before she was the chair on a lot of these subcommittees. So I know she's been putting in a lot of work as far as subcommittees and business highlighting and everything else. And I think that, adding you, Commissioner Garcia, it definitely helps out because you bring a different focus to it. You bring a very defined focus to it, and I think that your next couple subcommittee tries, you're gonna hit. You just got to keep pushing, but you're gonna get through there. All right, we got to love and eat it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Rowe. Okay, so with that being said, should we discuss the? Oh, sorry.
Maybe this is where you were going.
Go
but-
ahead.
Okay.
ahead,
I know I'm
Commissioner
late to the process here, and, but it just really struck me that I think a good addition to the scope of the Sonoma Boulevard Committee would be to also engage with property owners, because if a place is vacant, there's no tenant, there's no business to talk to. If the tenant is, I don't know, not paying their rent, again, we might want to, like if we think it's a tenant that we want to see stay there, maybe we can plant a seed with the owner, like, hey, maybe you could work out a rent arrangement. I mean, there's just all sorts of things you can talk to the property owner about. So I'm wondering if, hypothetically speaking,
It doesn't have to be,
we could add that in without writing it
It's
into the.
included.
I don't know what's going on with my mic.
yeah, I can see your thing is green, but.
Too many people have their mics on.
Oh, too many people have their mics. Oh, there it goes. You're looking at the staff report there where you're adding that, but let me draw your attention to page 12 of 13, which is the actual resolution. And maybe it might help also for the audience for me to read what these are. A, conduct business site visits and business retention interviews to learn about needs and challenges and to explore strategies for retaining and expanding same. B, connecting businesses with relevant grant and/or local opportunities and business incentives. C, engaging law enforcement to explore safety enhancements for businesses in the area experiencing security challenges. D, meeting with businesses, landlords, and property owners. You had mentioned that at the last meeting, which is why it's here, to try to link available business spaces with prospective tenants. And E, to employ additional measures to learn about the opportunities and challenges for retaining and expanding business in the corridor. So those were derived from your comments when you were discussing this at the last meeting. You had some very specific, it's in there. There were some other specifics that were mentioned. Now, somebody who may not have been here may have another idea that they want to add to this, which I think is fine. That's why you're here. It's before you, and you're open to discussing all of the items. But I wanted to focus your attention specifically on the resolution list, because that's where we would expand it if you want to expand, or take something away if you want to take something away.
Great, thank you for clarifying. So with that being said, that's a lot of work that the members of this subcommittee are going to, take on their shoulders. So do we have anybody who would like to be a member of this subcommittee?
I'm interested.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes, I'm interested as well.
Great. Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, I'm interested.
Okay. Great. So that's 3, so no more can join.
No.
So that will be, just for the record, Commissioner Williams, Vice Chair Monroe, and Commissioner Mitchell for the subcommittee, the business retention and expansion, focusing on Sonoma Boulevard businesses, cluster, and appointing members to the same. We now have 3 members. Great. So you 3 would get together, exchange information, and plan your meetings, structure, agendas, all of that. And then come back, and then there is a place on the agenda that you will report back your meetings. Great. So do we need to have a motion?
Motion to appoint?
Motion to.
I'm asking questions.
Motion to adopt the resolution and appoint these
resolution? Or
members.
sorry, do we have changes or issues? Commissioner Harrell?
Thank you. One of the things I hear is business retention, business recruitment, et cetera. I've finally heard commentary related to connecting with actual business owners, property owners. I certainly hope that we can get access to the information that the city would have on who owns the various properties by address, so that we're not dancing up and down the boulevard, whomever makes those visitations. There's over $100 million being spent on that Sonoma corridor, which is a significant amount. That, I believe, is the reason that the council person, Matthias, made the recommendation for this being, shall we say, the first strong advocacy. But I want to come back to the business owners, and that's related to not only helping them with their business, if we can do so, and perhaps giving them information related to grant funding or otherwise, but facade and landscaping. Those people that are owning the large shopping centers are unlikely to be owners of the businesses within their shopping centers, but the parking lots are hideous. The landscaping is not of reasonable quality, and I think this is the first salvo coming down Sonoma as an intro to Vallejo by so many folks that it's something that that committee needs to do. I don't know if that requires an amendment in here of the duties, but I think it's something that we need to be very focused on. Because, you can have a great ongoing business that's not going to do as well, because I'm not going in there if there's weeds and trash in front of your business. It's not going to happen.
Great, thank you. That can be something that the subcommittee discusses and maybe tries to get information about and enforce. But of course, that's code enforcement as well.
Right.
So, great. Are there any other
there code
questions,
that-
comments regarding the resolution? If not, do we have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I move to adopt resolution number EDC 25-02.
Great, second.
I'll second.
Great. Commissioner Williams, second.
Okay. Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great. That brings us to item 8B, consider and possibly take action to recommend EDC expenditures as proposed by the Business Highlights Shop Local Subcommittee, Chair Lufus, Monroe, and Garcia. So do we have anything that we would like to take action on expenditures at this time?
Is there an attachment?
No.
Potential expenditures?
No, it's just, did you review the work plan? And we send out the work plan so everyone can kind of review it. We have this on here so that if we do have an expenditure or something that we'd like to discuss, it's already in step one. So if there is anything from the work plan that you saw that you think that we should move forward with, attach ourselves to, I'll just mention that the Shop Local, there is a stakeholders group that is meeting or have met regarding Shop Local campaign or Shop Vallejo First. I'm not sure what they've landed on, but they are moving forward with, I believe, a few items. Kirk Smith knows more than me, that we could possibly attach ourselves to, help with, or kind of collaborate with. So if there's something or anything in the work plan that you would like us to move forward with to a step 2 as far as expenditures, please, or if you'd like to discuss it, we can discuss that.
Are there members of the Business Highlights and Shop Local Ad Hoc Committee here that could give us
I am a member
information
of-
on that? So
yeah.
what proposal would you make?
So we, like I said, there is a body of stakeholders who are working towards Shop Local campaigns, Shop Vallejo First campaign. So if that's something that we wanted to collaborate with in however way, shape, or form, we could get the information for this, move it to step 2, and then move forward with marketing, helping, we can get information about it. This is basically a step 1 to say, do we have anything we would like to spend money on at this time? We have a new budget, we have tons of things on there that we say we're gonna do. Is there anything at this point that we know we can help within the Shop Local Business
I
ad
have
hoc subcommittee? Commissioner Gonzalez?
a clarifying question on those expenditures. I believe that we had set some funds aside for marketing. Can you explain to me a little bit, maybe in a little bit more detail, if these are partnerships that we can, as a board, move to suggest to partner with, as you mentioned, Shop Local, or, for instance, Visit Vallejo? Is that something we can do or suggest?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to explore the possibility of moving forward and using some of those funds in marketing in partnership with Visit Vallejo. And if you would guide me through what that process would look like.
Okay. Well, technically, we've only used funds once, so like, But I believe we could, this is a step one, I believe, or is it step two of two? Is this step two? Okay, so so Visit Vallejo has a few things happening. One of them is another restaurant week, and I believe we discussed helping them with creating a marketing plan for the Spanish-speaking community. So if that's a way that we can help creating a bilingual flyer, marketing to the, whether that's, translation, or helping them market to the Latin community, like whether it's.
It would be probably best to ask them to
Yeah.
come up with some sort of a proposal to see.
Sure.
A
Yeah,
needs
he-
assessment, and we can move forward to allocate funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we can approve to allocate funds towards that, is that, or do we have to have a specific amount, Attorney Nunn?
You would, in order to take that to finance, to get that turned into a purchase order or a.
Okay. But do we
I-
need that today, or can we just say that we would like to expend funds towards the shop local?
If the suggestion to work with Visit Vallejo, what would probably be best is if the subcommittee
Yeah.
met with Visit Vallejo, if that's who you want to work with, get the suggestions, find out what could help to enhance what you're talking about, and then the subcommittee could also find out what that would cost, and then bring that forward for this committee, for the full committee to vote on the cost and expenditure so that it can be carried over to finance.
Great. Okay. So there's no step two, so we're not going, we don't.
Yeah,
need to
you're
vote on
already
this.
there.
Yeah, we're already there.
You're
Okay,
already there.
okay.
Now you're talking about how to implement.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so we will meet with, I will set a meeting with Kirk Smith, and we can discuss how this body can help push that forward for you, and specifically within the Latino community. So, great.
And establish.
Yeah, establish the,
Establish a budget for that?
Yes.
Or a request anyway?
yes. So do we need to vote? We take a vote? Or can we just, it's just moving?
I don't think you
along?
need to take a vote at this
Okay.
time. I think if what you've all decided to do is go meet with Visit Vallejo,
Then we don't
and
need to- okay.
the subcommittee can do that, bring that back to the full body with the complete budget that you're looking for and what you're looking to expend it on, and then you can vote on that.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so that brings us to item 8C. Consider and provide a recommendation to the City Council on increasing the assessment of the Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District. Assessment. Annette Taylor, City of Vallejo, Senior Community Development Analyst. Take it from here.
If you sit down, does that mean it's a long presentation? Because we are rolling through this agenda in a way that I have not seen the level of efficiency, so.
Just give it to us, Ms. Taylor.
Good afternoon, good evening, commissioners, and thank you. I promise you, I will not keep you long. That's my promise. As noted, I'm Annette Taylor, Senior Community Development Analyst with the Economic Development Department. I come before you this evening so I can read. Requesting that the commission make a recommendation to the city council on increasing the assessment of the Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District assessment. Kurt Smith, President and CEO of the CVB, gave his quarterly report to you last month, and in that report there was an update on their intentions to ask for an increase of their bid. I do have a PowerPoint. It's up. And just Vallejo Convention and Visitors Bureau is the legal name of Visit Vallejo. So for all our legal documents, the CVB is required, not Visit Vallejo. So that's so make sure you understand that difference. So the PowerPoint was included in your packet. I'll just highlight some of the things. 2003, the city reduced the amount of the TOT provided to CVB. Because of the reduction from the city, CVB requested a tourism improvement district be formed. In 2004, on January 6th, the City Council adopted an ordinance establishing the bid. On February 1st, 2004, the assessments were levied on all hotels with the City of Vallejo based on the flat fee of $1 per occupied room per night for hotels with more than 40 rooms, and 50 cents per occupied room per night for hotels with 40 or less rooms. 2004, a service agreement was negotiated with CVB to implement the marketing programs, projects, and activities that benefit the hotels within Vallejo. Fiscal year 2007-2008 was not a great year for the city. Due to the city's budget deficit, the city reduced the TOT provided to CVB. Because of the reduction, CVB requested that the assessments be increased to augment their budget. On June 27, 2007, the Bid Advisory Board voted to recommend an increase in the assessment to a flat fee of $2 per occupied room night for hotels with more than 40 rooms and $1 per occupied room per night for hotels with 40 or less rooms. On October 9, 2007, City Council adopted a resolution approving the increase in the assessments. The current assessment produced, according to Kurt Smith, is $293,223 in revenue for 2024. That should be 2024-25. March 11th, Kurt Smith, President and CEO, presented the concept of a bid modification to the Vallejo Hotel stakeholders regarding the future of tourism, funding, and long-term sustainability, marketing and development initiatives. But because of high costs of everything going up, he thought it prudent to look at a modification. July 9, 2025, hotel stakeholders reconvened, and the majority of the stakeholders present voted in favor for a phased increase of 50 cents per room night increase effective January 1, 2026, and additional 50 cents per room night increase effective January 1, 2027. On July 16, the CVB Board of Directors approved and endorsed the proposed phase increase. The goal of the phased approach is to responsibility scale CVB's funding capacity to meet the rising cost of doing business while supporting expanded efforts in destination marketing, visitor services, public safety, collaborations, and economic development for Vallejo's tourism sector. It's estimated the proposed increased assessment in year one following the implementation of the increased assessment, if approved, would total approximately $57,000 for fiscal year 25-26, assuming January 1, 2026 as the effective date. Revenue generation is 6 months of incremental revenue stemming from any assessment modification. And for fiscal year 26-27, over 114,000, a little over $114,000. This item is on the October 14th City Council agenda for consideration. Tonight, I'm here to ask that this commission consider and provide recommendation to the City Council on increasing the assessment of the Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District assessments. Kurt Smith is also in the audience to answer any pertinent questions you may have that I may not be able to answer. And that's my report.
Does anybody have Commissioner Garcia? No. Commissioner Harrell?
Yeah. I've got to couch the words, the language that I might use, not foul or anything, but I just want to say it as politely as I can. We're sitting here discussing 50 cents and $1. We're here discussing room rental costs on average of $80 a night, $90 a night. that makes it worse. 0.5%, half a percent maybe of a room cost, and the vast majority of rooms are rented by people from out of town that are traveling, that'll spend $5, $7, $9 on coffee or a special milkshake. I'm concerned about clawing our way out of a deficit because, quite in my opinion, they need more money to do what they do. And I'm perplexed by the process that these amounts came from, that these amounts were raised from. Any business is going to say, no, I don't want to raise my prices. It might affect me. But the information we received at our last meeting indicated that our rates for rooms, average rates for rooms, was significantly lower than all other markets around, which means we have much more of a gap that we could actually fill in and still be lower than the competing marketplace. I don't know if it's too late to run this back up the pole, but my person, I will not be voting for this to be approved. I would not make a recommendation to the council because it's too small a number, in my opinion.
I will respond, and then if Mr. Smith would like to give his response as well. I did attend those meetings where this was discussed, and it was difficult to get the 50 cents per night. This is a self-assessment that the hoteliers provide on themselves. It was discussed, this may not be enough. It was zero, it was nothing, or 50 cents. And some of the smaller hotels are saying a number of things. We have competition that's American Canyon, Napa, but also they were concerned about the lack of security, that their visitors come, a lot of break-ins, robberies, they come and they leave. And so they thought that to incrementally say 50 cents would put their toe in the water, so to speak, to see what it is, and then it would be $1 a year. They self-assess. You have your viewpoint. I heard your comments from last month's meeting. They haven't changed. The reasons that it's 50 cents haven't changed. This was what the hoteliers want. And I think that perhaps in 2027, if in fact the economy is better and the hotels feel better and there's more security, I know that with this last heartening grant, there was a pilot project with one of the hotels for cameras. And so perhaps that may be something they can do in the future. But regardless of how you feel about it as a commissioner, those who, the hoteliers themselves are the ones who do the self-assessment. So I appreciate your thoughts on that, and I don't know if Mr. Smith would like to add anything else.
So before he speaks, and I appreciate your candor, because that's exactly what I expect, and I understand how it came about. In a self-assessment world, people don't want to assess. Obviously, it's not a mandated or a requirement. Would that be something that the city and the council would have to establish as a hotel fee? We see those types of things in hotels in the city, in Las Vegas, New Orleans, wherever. We see hotel fees that the city receives right on our bill. So is that something that's done through legislation at the council level?
Well, we do have a TOT, which is 11%. So that comes in currently.
Okay.
So that's what the city collects.
Okay.
And it goes into our general fund. In past years, some of those funds were going to the CVB.
Okay.
But because of
Constraints.
things that happen, it was reduced and eliminated. So they're no longer receiving any TOT. That's why they did the assessment. If in fact, I don't know, this is a question for Attorney Knapp, I don't know if the city council can dictate this assessment. I think that it's something that the hoteliers are requesting, but I don't know if the city council can say, well, we want to increase it without going back to the hotels.
I have to look that up. They probably can, but you need to weigh the question. So whenever we go out for an assessment of this type, whatever it is, particularly these special assessments, you don't want to go to, I don't want to use the word trouble, but you don't want to push it out there in a way that it is likely to fail. It's kind of like an annexation where you try to figure out whether you're going to have enough votes before you spend the money to do it, right? So here, I think Visit Vallejo and the board went out to the hoteliers, is my understanding, and found out where the pain point was and what they felt would not receive protests that would quell the increase at all. So those paying this increase or this fee, tax, whatever you want to call it, have the right to protest. And so if you put it at a place, let's say the council put it at $30, I'm making that number up, high likelihood they receive protests because one of the things that the hoteliers said that we heard through Visit Vallejo was some of the reason that their occupancy rates are high is vis-a-vis the surrounding cities, their room rates are lower. So if someone is coming to the general area, say visiting Napa or doing a wine country trip, it would be more economical for them at this point in time to stay in Vallejo than it would be to stay in Napa, and they feel that that's part of the draw for Vallejo, which increases the occupancy rates or the number of rooms they sell. So I think they've vetted it. The proceeds go to Visit Vallejo. This is the amount they've asked for that they believe they've vetted, polled sufficiently, and they believe will pass and not draw so many protests that it won't go forward. Certainly, this commission can say to the council as part of your recommendation, yes, we support 50 cents and 50 cents of a dollar, but we'd support a whole lot more if that's what this commission wants to say to the council. You can say what you want to the council. I don't want to discourage you from making your point to say, gosh, it feels low to us, if the commission believes that. But we support it because anything is, you know, a step in the right direction. I'm not telling you what to say. I'm just saying that's how you can frame it. Staff decided that it would be a good idea to bring it before this commission because we wanted to make sure that the council had the opportunity to hear what you had to say prior to adopting it. So I do believe that if one of the things you want to say is, hey, make it higher, you certainly could do that. Visit Vallejo this is on the council's agenda for the 14th. I assume Visit Vallejo will be there on the 14th and have the opportunity to speak to what they think will and won't pass and where the council ought to or might set it. So I'll leave that from there to the sound discretion of the commission.
Thank you. Do the hotels have surge pricing for special events?
Yes.
You know, when, happens up the road here and there, and we have a fixed cost on the rooms. So it seems that we're working in a conflicting concept of contributing, shall we say. Was anything discussed with them about when they do have those surge prices? That's one. Two, if they were to choose to increase their rates based on their cost at 10% for the year, we don't receive an additional nickel or a dime
Correct.
on the 50 cents or the $1 based on the way that this is structured. So I see flaws in multiple places. I understand how people feel, but I'm looking at data and analyzing from a database, data perspective. Could you give us insight on that?
No, I'd love to. I appreciate the dialogue and appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Economic Development Commission. I think kind of addressing them one by one. First, as it relates to the hotels, one of the things we need to look at is the mix. The mix of hotels, chain versus independent owners. And the independent owners are the majority in this particular situation with the chains. And the chains are run by managers, general managers who are working for a corporation, and the independents are independents, mom and pop. So we got to kind of keep that in mind. And that, again, is the majority, hence the 50 cents in the dollar. Many different options were presented. Percentage-based, to your point of, for lack of a better term, capitalizing on the surge pricing or the dynamic pricing, because every hotel in the city does function that way. That is their strategy. Supply and demand, basic economics 101. And so that was one of the proposals. And that was almost unanimously, I don't want to say shunned, but unanimously not accepted. There wasn't a very positive vibe in the room when the percentage came on. And part of it is legacy, right? We're used to, since 2004, as Ms. Taylor has presented, that's the way it's been, you know? So trying to change that sometimes is an uphill battle. So, and then we presented $1, and ultimately, we got there. It was just stair-stepped in the 2-year process. You talk about occupancy rates, and when I was here last couple weeks ago, we talked about occupancy rates on a 12-month running period, and we were up 2%. So it's good to be up. Average daily rate was down 8%. So the hotels are very challenged, whether it's the economy, whether it's, you know, in their mind, it's perception of Vallejo or public safety, a myriad of different reasons of why they feel that they've had to reduce their average daily rates in order to get the business. So any increase, albeit even though it's being assessed and passed over to the customer as an assessment, the hotels aren't paying it. They are charging their patrons this $2 and $1 currently, and hopefully $2.50 and $1.50 for 2006, and then go up the full dollar with the extra 50 cents in 2007. So, you know, that has been the process we've gone through since, you know, March. When I took over in January, it was one of the top agenda items, and something as a board member previous to being the CEO has been talked about for, I would say years, but decades. And we're at a place where we can get this into or get it on the city council agenda, which is a huge win. And then the last thing I'll close with on this section is trust, right? There is, because of the economic struggles Visit Vallejo has experienced over the last several years, whether it's due to the reduction in occupancy rates ever really since 2020, there's been a lack of trust or credibility with Visit Vallejo in our ability to move things along, market the city, to really truly impact and influence hotel room nights, occupancy, demand to come to the city, which ultimately would rise your average daily rates, your ADR. So this is a way that, you know, we feel like we're going into the water cannonball style with this. And I totally understand the perspective of dipping our toe in the water on this. I guess it's what side of the pool you're sitting on? Baby toe. The baby toe? Well, maybe a couple toes. Because it's been a challenge up to this point. And Visit Vallejo is a nonprofit. And we are a board governed, we are governed by our board of directors, and as well as attached with a Vallejo Tourism Business Improvement District council, totally separate group of people that oversee the bid and the agreement and these types of arrangements. So there's really two entities in play here. And that's what our constituents voted for. We presented 3.5%. I'll be honest, we presented 3.5% and it didn't pass. So we went to $1. And then I guess we came to a win-win mutual agreement to do 50 cents and 50 cents. So that's how we ended up here. But I completely appreciate your comments. I do encourage you to give us the opportunity to get this on the city council agenda with the EDC's recommendation. We have committed to present to this group once a quarter, and we will continue to do so with updates. And one of the things, as I presented last time, is what this additional funding will allow us to do. And what it really is going to allow us to do is build credibility within the hotel community, within the city community, that Visit Vallejo is a thriving destination marketing organization. So that's where we are. So I appreciate you.
I really appreciate the candor, because what you're suggesting, what I'm hearing you suggest, is that Visit Vallejo fell on hard times and their reputation is not solid with the people you're going to ask to pay more. And now you're trying to right that. I thank you very much. That makes a lot more sense to me, although I'm struggling with the number.
Commissioner Garcia?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, and thank you, Mr. Smith, for your presentation. I have a couple of clarifying questions. I'll make a couple of statements, and if you could just nod or agree with me, or disagree, for that matter. It sounds like we're looking for this 50-cent increase, I think it is, for the purposes of funding some of the work that Visit Vallejo is doing. That is essentially what this is for, correct? And I think if I'm hearing part of the discussion, I just want to make sure I'm reflecting and following this correctly, which is that there has been some hesitancy because of reputational risk, and this is sort of the amount that you feel like is reasonable. Is then therefore the idea that the positioning of hotels and lodging here in Vallejo is such that it is really solely based on price, and that is kind of the concern and angle that our hoteliers are coming to the table with?
If you drive up Interstate 80 here, since I think Monday of this week, there's a digital sign that says "Stay in Vallejo" as a play of our new Stay, Play, and Explore brand positioning. And it says the Bay Area's best hotels. And what we mean by best hotels is best value. We do have lower rates in some of our connected, whether it's by land or by sea areas. We're surrounded by pretty affluent areas with Napa, San Francisco, Marin, and then over to the East Bay, Walnut Creek, Concord. I mean, their ADRs are $40, $50 higher than we are. It's us, Vallejo, and Vacaville that live in this 80 corridor that really take the value approach in order to obtain the business for overnight stays. And then it comes down to leveraging the assets of Vallejo, leveraging the theme park at Six Flags, leveraging the events. In September, as I presented a couple weeks ago, we ran a September to Remember campaign where we dropped digital advertising, literally almost our last dollars of funds into Reno and Fresno to let those markets know about all the events, the flurry of events that we had here in September. Occupancy rate numbers aren't out yet for us to really get a true indication of how that performed from a hotel. The operators I have talked to felt it made an impact, not huge. We didn't change the world, but we made little strides. And this assessment increase would allow us to do more of that. We have on on our plan for November, December to do the same kind of thing. And we're talking $10,000 a campaign. So it's not huge, but doing the same type of thing in San Francisco and Sacramento and focusing on a more local holiday shopping, shop local, restaurant week, Winterfest at Six Flags campaign, just to keep some momentum and keep some awareness, not only out in the marketplace, but within our lodging community. So
That makes sense. And I think you actually psychically answered my next question, which was how does this compare to other markets in the area? And it sounds like we charge far less, I think, for our fees in that regard. So I think I maybe also wanted to recap Commissioner Harrell. I think what I heard you say is not that you're in disagreement of the 50 cents, just that it's not enough, clearly, that is not near enough what we need to sustain the level of work and investment that we need to make in the organization. Additionally, I think the thing that I would add to that recommendation is that I really hesitate positioning Vallejo as the cheap place to be. I think that's a real dangerous...
It's a negative.
A negative. It's a real dangerous spot, I think, for this city to be in. And also, I think it doesn't really paint the full picture of the city that is literally on the waterfront, that literally does have events coming to this city. And I would really caution and add and supplement to a recommendation, should we move forward with one, that really enhances the positioning that our hotels should take, that Visit Vallejo should take, so that we can garner a higher rate. Because the city deserves it, because the city is marketable, and the city has a lot of value in terms of geography, weather, and other things that it brings to the table. And so I really wanted to state that, I think, for the record, and also for our consideration as we formulate some type of recommendation.
Madam President, one last comment.
Okay.
I'll do my best to make the last comment. The math for me is 19 years, a 50% increase, a 50 cents increase. It's been 19 years since it was approved in 2007 to be $2, I guess it is. In 19 years, we take a 50-cent increase. There is no business owner there that can wholeheartedly and honestly say that a 50% increase is adequate, because none of their businesses have had such a minute increase in operating revenue or costs. So I'm beating a dead horse, but that's really what it boils down to, is 19 years and we get a 50 cent increase.
yeah. And in 20 years, it'll be $1, full dollar. And you know, I agree. I agree. You know, and in our presentation to the hotels, it was very clear what operating costs were in 2007 and what operating costs are now. And we are an organization where this time last year we had 5 full-time employees. Now we have 2. So
I'm trying to get you more money.
I appreciate that greatly. I just understanding, as I understand the process, that would come with its own set of challenges, which could put us in a position to get none, because it's not a dictatorship. If it was, it'd be a lot simpler process to get through. But you know, we are a reputable nonprofit organization working with our clients, for lack of a better term, and those are the hoteliers. So, understanding their business and respecting their business and following their suggestions in conjunction with yours. Is the game here.
Did you want to add one more thing?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you. And I appreciate the conversations and the questions and the comments. As it was noted, there were 5 employees before Visit Vallejo. And as I shared with Mr. Smith earlier today, and he knows he's been on the board, that with our smaller hotels, over the years, they have asked, where are the funds going? How is it helping me? Yeah. I think under this new, I wasn't going to say that. I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say that. Under this new leadership and strategy, Mr. Smith is showing them where the money is going, how it can benefit them. But I also want to speak on behalf of the hotels, because I'm economic development, I'm a small business person. Over the years, many of our hotels have invested in improving and renovating. At times, that meant that they had to close down certain rooms, and that was less money coming in from the TOT and the bid. But they were trying to compete the best that they could with the dollar amounts that they had. And so it's not like they're saying, well, we're cheap, so come to Vallejo. That's not what they're saying. I think many of them are trying their best to stay afloat. And so the 50 cents seems minimal to you and perhaps others, but to them, in their way of thinking, how they do business, it's a big step. It's a step, and so it's $1. And they said we could come back and look at it after the year. So I just don't want, it's easy for us to look out or suggest how they should run their business or what should be done, but it is their business. And even though it doesn't affect them because it's passed on, it's their mindset. And I think we have to acknowledge that and respect that.
Thank you. So I think our next, to make a motion to,
Commissioner Garcia got one comment.
do you want to comment, Commissioner Garcia?
I think
Okay.
Commissioner Gonzalez was
No, I was
first.
going to move to motion the recommendation to the city council to recommend I'm making sure I'm looking at the right one here. Well, I'm making a motion to approve the recommendation for VT bid assessment. Thank you for providing all the very helpful information. I do believe that we are turning the tide, and sometimes it takes a little bit. We're turning a big boat, and we are looking forward to hearing some more aggressive increases in the future. But for now, I do move to recommend the approval.
I'd like to add an amendment to that recommendation. Since I know we are probably sparse on facts and probably short on time, but I am hoping that maybe this commission and this body might consider to add to our recommendation that we increase that cost by at least inflation subsequent to this initial 50-cent increase. It would only be a recommendation. We are only a recommending body. But I certainly think having a standard increase of inflation annually, so that hopefully by year 20 you don't have just $1, might actually supplement and advance this conversation in subsequent years.
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
To Attorney Knapp. It is a recommendation to City Council. They can take it under consideration, correct?
Yes.
But if in fact it's taken into consideration and they go with this recommendation, does that mean that the vote has to go back to the hoteliers for this increase in by inflation?
So I'm going to answer from the hip and not looking at, because I don't have my memo in front of me, but I don't think so. So the purpose of polling the hoteliers was to find out where their pain point was and to see at what point they would protest. So I think, their vote happens after we put out the ballots and they have a protest right. Their vote preceding is essentially a recommendation. It's like, yeah, we would support it under those circumstances. So the process isn't they vote, then we put it on the ballot, and then they get to vote again. That pre-vote isn't really binding, I'll put it that way. So no, I don't think we have to go back to them. Now, we might want to go back to them, but it sounds like they were already polled at $3. Would we want to pull them on a, call it automatic CPI increase? A CPI increase on $2 is, I guess it's 3, right? It would be 3 by the end. It was 1, then it went another 1, and now it would be 3 per room. Right. So I think, if we were going to do a CPI, would the council want to pull them to find out if that would cause them to protest? Maybe. I think probably this is a conversation for the 14th with the council. I think what this commission is saying is it has some suggestions to maybe not have it fall so far behind before it was potentially increased again. They're making that suggestion, but they're still saying yes to the dollar. And I think the council can take that suggestion and do what it will with it, and we can at that point discuss the pros and cons before the council.
So I have a quick question for the two of you. Would our suggesting a higher dollar amount or cost of living increase, in your opinion, is that something that you would, is that going to inhibit you, or would it help you, or would you rather just have us recommend what you've already established and move on without causing any undue controversy?
No, I mean, following the spirit of the process, you recommend what you feel that you need to recommend. How we are set up is that we have tonight, next Tuesday is the city council meeting. The following Tuesday is our hotel lodging committee meeting. So hopefully, as the hotels will have been and will be reminded to tune in to the city council meeting to listen in, we will have an audience with those hotels that show up on the 21st. And we would know at that point, if you were to say that any amendment or change or modification to the 50 cents and the 50 cents a year would push us back to the first inning, I would take you up on your offer to say, just go for it. But if it sounds like there's opportunity to appropriately represent the hotels in a way that would also benefit Visit Vallejo and allow us to do what we can do, then recommend what you need to recommend.
Okay. I just want to make sure that our recommendation isn't going to affect your standing with the agreement you've already made with the hoteliers, and it doesn't look like we're undermining anybody. Okay, great. So do we have a second on this, or are we ready to vote? I mean, are we going to discuss this further? He gave a presentation last month on this. I think this was just to do a recommendation, not to rehash the presentation from last month. So are we ready to move forward, or do you not? Can we, Commissioner Gonzalez has made a motion. Do we have a second?
You have an amendment to
an
that
amendment.
motion.
Yeah, so do we have a second?
And I would like to make a comment. I'm not rehashing.
Another comment? Okay, so go ahead. Let's just.
It sounds like it's a 3 years to a potential reassessment. That dawned on me, we have a business, I'm so sorry. We have a business retention committee, or that's part of our role here. And I think that it would behoove Visit Vallejo, or VTB, is that the Visit Vallejo? Yeah, okay. It would behoove a collaborative work with speaking with or attending members of this commission, this body, attending that hoteliers meeting to share with them a different perspective, because it's coming from you, but it comes from you, and I don't doubt that you have perfect skill set to present to them, but coming from others that are within the city, citizens, to say, hey, look, we all have to pitch in if we want to climb. It's just everybody's rowing this boat. So if in the future we can look into that, I think it would be valuable.
Great, so that's something that the Business Retention and Expansion Subcommittee can discuss, or the Shop Local Ad Hoc Committee as well, which we will be meeting shortly. to discuss the restaurant week. So do we, with an amendment to, well, we haven't written anything yet, so we have a motion to recommend to City Council increasing the assessment. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So we don't have anything written yet, so
So it's not a
now,
resolution
is this
yet.
to be written? Or is this step 2?
No, there's just not enough time for that. The
Yeah.
council is meeting on the 14th, so we didn't bind this up into a resolution or anything written. Staff will carry forward your motion and the vote on that motion to the council. I would suggest to not make it complicated. I don't know if you want to vote on the base motion or if you want to have the discussion about the idea of the, I'm saying CPI, but it could be any index, an index to have it keep pace with inflation, but just being clear, I don't want to make your motion for you, but being clear that you are recommending the dollar, the 50 cents regardless, and you would like the council, and I'm helping a little bit too much here, to also consider whether an inflation factor could or would be warranted, or whether that would create issues, and that you're just making that suggestion to them. If that's your motion, then I think you can move that and second it and carry it forward to a vote.
Great. So we need to restate the motion? Or can we just say, but she just said?
You can say what she just said if you want to do it that way.
All right,
If,
so
if you
we-
agree with
I
it, please
believe-
don't let me put words in your
Yeah,
mouth.
so we have a motion, we had a second. Can we get?
Yeah, was the second Harrell or Garcia? I heard both.
Both. Give it to her.
Is Commissioner
Garcia. I'm giving it to Garcia. Okay. All right. Chair Lufus,
Yes.
Vice Chair Monroe,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Harrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion moves.
Great.
Thank you. And,
thank you.
Attorney Neb, could you provide me the recommendations so I can put it in the staff report? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirk. Thanks, Annette.
It's your fault. That it went long, it's your fault.
Thank you. Thank you, Annette. All right, so now we move to item 9, second community forum. Anyone wishing to address the commission on any matter for which another opportunity to speak is not provided on the agenda, and which is within the jurisdiction of the commission to resolve. Do we have any speakers?
It's like we got one in the audience. Rest of the audience.
We have one speaker.
Through the chair, it appears we do have a member of the public who would like to speak on this item.
Okay.
Did not formally sign up, but if you would like to come to the podium, state your name, and we'll allot you 3 minutes. To the podium, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've come here before. My name is Pastor Rodney Levias. I'm developing a coalition to help the city of Vallejo with the homeless issue. Okay. One of the things that I want to address to you is, and I've been working with Natalie and Annette. Okay? And one of the things that I would like to do is try to develop social service agencies to come to our church once every fourth Saturday. And we're trying to develop a commission of social service agencies to find out where homeless people are located and what their needs are. And I've been working with Annette and Natalie. Hopefully, we'll be able to get social service agencies to come to our church on the fourth Saturday. Okay? We also want to work with foster care agencies, and the North Bay Regional Center. And this is a grassroots thing to try to eliminate homelessness in Vallejo. You know, as I mentioned before, our church is fortunate to have 2.4 acres of land, which we want to use to develop for affordable housing. We're also having difficulty because there's a lot right adjacent to us that is owned by Caltrans. We've been trying to purchase that for 15 years. And we've been going through a lot of bureaucracy. So we're just trying to find out if we can get Caltrans to try to acquire that additional 5 acres because the planning department says we can't do any development until we have that adjacent lot with Caltrans. Okay, so I'm hoping that what our goal is to try to have some type of transitional housing. Maybe I should go to the city council meeting, but we want to try to have something like workforce investment, Job Corps, some type of transitional housing where you know, they can go and stay, get job training, and then hopefully we will be able to, by that time, have some type of housing for them. I think a lot of the people that are in, you know, living out on the streets, they really need to be retrained. They need additional training, you know. We don't want to try to develop any type of housing and they don't have any type of job skills. So the goal is to try to get them to have some type of job skills to work. I don't really think it's feasible to have something like Section 8 or anything like that. You know,
Time.
we want these people to have jobs. We want them to be able to go to work and pay their rent and not be on any type of government assistance. So that's the goal. That's the reason why we're trying to work with social service agencies. I may have to go to the city council meeting and find out what needs to be done. And hopefully, you know, we would like to acquire even additional land to help the homeless with their needs.
I think definitely you should go to city council and
Okay.
present, so I highly suggest it.
Okay, so I think that's probably the best thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Go to the city council.
Yes, but thank you so much for speaking.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No other speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Item 10, report of the city council liaison. I do not see him in attendance. Number 11 is future agenda items. So are there any items that anybody would like to agendize at this time?
Oh, I have a ton.
So Commissioner Garcia.
I have given you a written report already. I have a short list of things. So first, I wanted to resurface those committees. It sounds like the secretary and city attorney have surfaced that we can revisit and have conversation about voting for subcommittees. Again, we can talk about titles and names. There were 3 that we discussed in June of 2024. I'm sorry, 2025, so June of this year. And I believe that was innovation. I believe the other one was business. We're going to talk about business retention.
We just approved that one tonight.
That's right. That's right. So I think we should revisit the discussion about a retention subcommittee because this one is focused on Sonoma. I understand that there is a broader public safety and economic viability committee, but we do need to address the items in the work plan. If we're not committed to the items in the work plan, I would suggest we have another discussion about that. Number 5 is an innovation and technology subcommittee. And then we have a suite of things under strategic alignment, I'm sorry, strategy and advisement. There's a suite of key tasks that are listed there. And if we need further clarity, we can either discuss that here, we can have that discussion offline. I'm not really clear on what the protocol is to kind of get those subcommittees moving so that we can discuss them and vote on them and establish them so we can do the work that's outlined that we all voted for. So that's my first set of items. And then my second item, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I put innovation and technology as one, or is that separate?
I have, basically, what I have is on page 2 of the work plan, there's 5 areas with 5 clusters of tasks. Yeah, that we're responsible for. It's page 2 of the work plan, not of our packet.
Page 10 of the packet.
Yeah, it's on, all the items that you're speaking about are actually listed in the, right?
Page 10.
Yeah, page 10.
Great.
Strategy and advisement, business recruitment, business retention, public safety and economic viability.
Perfect. Great.
Civic innovation and technology.
Great. I'm glad we can put all of those on an agenda so that we can subcommittee those or discuss the potential of a subcommittee to move forward the key tasks in each of the areas of our work plan.
Okay, so we'd have a subcommittee for innovation and technology, a subcommittee for public safety and economic viability, a subcommittee for business recruitment,
Mm-hmm.
a subcommittee for business retention that is in addition to the subcommittee that's a broader scope of business retention.
We have other key tasks
And-
listed there, yes.
Well, I'm looking at the page 2.
Sure.
And then the strategy, a subcommittee for development and refined economic strategies to drive growth.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So, a suggestion. I think if what you're trying to do is bind it to the work plan, maybe the titles aren't, I think if you start copying titles over and having 2 for the same thing, we're going to get super confused. Maybe we could come up with different titles. But if what you're saying is you want one for a group that's on page 2, one for a group that's on page
Sure.
5, however you want to accomplish that, we can try to come up with some titles for you. And then if your suggestion is, and if I understand it, I think it is, that you want the charge to be the tasks that are in the work plan that are grouped for that.
Correct. I'm trying to make this as straightforward as possible.
I get
So
it.
we have
Yeah.
subcommittees that essentially are really clearly assigned tasks that we're responsible for, because right now our tasks are not assigned to any subcommittees. And so that's the objective.
I'm merely
Can we
trying
have,
to
like, a broad
understand
subcommittee,
it to
though?
help
Like,
staff.
can we just have like a work plan subcommittee where it's just generalized? That way we don't have to have, because we only have 7 people here. And if we have 5 subcommittees, that means everyone's on the same subcommittees. Like, we're gonna have crossover, right? So if we're speaking, you understand, so.
I definitely understand, but if you do what you're suggesting, and you can break these up however you want to break them up.
Yeah.
But if you do a work plan subcommittee, then you're going to have only 3 people to spread the work over, because there's only going to be 3 people on that subcommittee. So the suggestion, how to break them up, I think we could bring back a resolution that creates the subcommittees, lists all the tasks from the work plan, and you all can decide at that meeting which one you want to throw something under, if you want to create only 2, if you want to create 4, if you want to create 3, that if you want to maybe assign more to the one you just created
Sure.
tonight. I think we can do that. I just want
Yeah.
to discourage you from saying one.
How to set that up as a future agenda item, rather.
So I think,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was asking, were you asking me? I'm sorry. I think that we can agendize an item for the creation of work plan subcommittees, titles to
Plural.
be, plural,
Yes.
to be named.
Great.
And then we'll work on we'll bring you a list of the tasks, and they can go into each resolution, for lack of a better word. You can decide how you want to group them.
Okay, and that means that we will have it up, we will discuss whether or not it will be on the agenda next meeting, is that correct?
No, I was suggesting we would just bring it to you the next meeting.
Love it, okay, let's do that.
With all of those options, and you can kind of, maybe it might be the only agenda item, and you could sit here and
Sure.
hash it out and decide
Sure.
which committee takes which tasks and how they are logically grouped together. We can
Great.
take a stab at it for you, but please don't think that staff's stab is set in stone. You all can decide how to move them around.
Sure, that's helpful, thank you.
Great. I was just going to suggest that just naming the subcommittees like strategy, economic viability, civic innovation, and just dropping certain words would probably get it to where it needs to be, if that's, without saying public safety. Like, if we just say economic viability, that kind of includes public safety and would make it something passable. But I think, it would definitely, so we're going to add an agenda item that is creation of work plan subcommittees, plural. And Commissioner Gonzalez?
Just to clarify, are we naming these subcommittee suggestions, or we'll be discussing that at a later time?
We'll discuss it the next meeting.
Okay,
But, come with information if you want.
got it.
Great. Commissioner Garcia, did you have any others?
Yeah, I think the other one that I wanted to resurface, this is another agenda item that I have previously requested, is that we come in at each meeting, actually review the agenda items that we have all requested collectively and better understand the status of them, where they're at, why they may or may not be on the agenda. Obviously, it's not reasonable for us to discuss all of the things, and I don't think anybody wants to discuss all of the things in one night. But I think it would be good practice for this commission, either included in the report from the department, or if we want to agendize that as a separate item, to have that with regularity. So I wanted to surface that either for our discussion here, where is the best place for that to occur?
Probably the secretary report, maybe?
Yeah, probably. And I also just want to mention that although we are going to create these subcommittees, we do not have to wait to do anything in the work plan for the creation of a subcommittee. If there's anything that you would like to bring forward in the work plan now, we could agendize it. So if there's something that in the part one that we want to make, for instance, develop the belonging map, conduct briefings, scope a world-class art event, create a role to oversee commission's budget, prepare quarterly report to city council. Any of those items that you would like to agendize now, we do not need to wait for a subcommittee to do so. Or anything in the work plan.
I
We can
think
agendize today.
I actually think that's a great recommendation. What I would say to that is that perhaps we add an agenda item to calendar these, because obviously, I could easily say we should talk about all of them next meeting, but we would probably overfill our time. But I think what would be a really productive discussion is if at the next meeting, maybe we discuss what we want to prioritize. We're going to be talking about subcommittees, we're going to be doling out tasks and doing that kind of thing. And then I think at that moment, it would be good to organize ourselves in terms of priority.
Okay. Great. So does anybody else have any other agenda items that they'd like to add? And again, it does not have to be on the work plan. It can be something else that you've seen or want to work on. But I'd like to agendize one more thing, which is the Shop Local Ad Hoc Subcommittee, because I think it's expired, and we need it in order to continue our work with local stakeholders and visit Vallejo. All right.
Can't just keep using it.
Right.
We'll agendize to discuss it for the next, for 1 year.
No,
No, we can't roll it over. We have, but I mean, like, to create a new subcommittee for the Shop Local.
So I think what the vice chair's trying to say is that an ad hoc subcommittee is supposed to be of limited duration. And that, under the law, basically doesn't mean that we just keep re-upping it year after year with the same tasks. So if we can look at tasks, again, perhaps from the work plan, and assign those tasks to the what we've previously named shop local, those would be new tasks that shop local would be doing. And we would have an opportunity then to not create the same subcommittee, but a new one with a new set of tasks.
Yeah, I was going to attach it to being with Visit Vallejo or working with local stakeholders to push forward their marketing and
Got it.
city-run campaigns.
Then certainly the commission can bring that item forward as well. If there are things in the work plan that fit with that one, and we could take it under that agenda item. And then if later on you want to add things to that subcommittee's work, you could take that up by going through the two-step process to amend it.
Perfect, great.
Madam Chair?
Sure, Commissioner Harrell?
I would like to add a process, and it may not be at the next meeting based on what I'm hearing we're going to possibly discuss. Today, we passed a resolution related to the ad hoc committee on Sonoma Boulevard. One of the things, and I elucidated, or I shared that there's a significant investment being placed there by the state, and so it makes perfect sense. But I want us to also recognize and put onto an agenda discussion of a timeline in the future where we can begin the process of doing the same activities in other areas. Of special import to me, or special consideration to me, is we have a downtown that we often want to highlight, et cetera, et cetera. However, our downtown is no longer the downtown we know it as on Georgia Street. Shopping takes place up in D1 with the Costco development, with the theoretical, the casino coming in, with all of those shops are the new down to Target Plaza. I don't know the names of these places, but that's where shopping takes place. And we've got to, in my opinion, need to figure out how to drive traffic to that market so that they're at least here. Because if you tell them go downtown to shop Vallejo, it's like, okay, I can buy a book, I can go to a restaurant. So I don't know how to frame it. You can help me with that, Madam Chair. But we need to look at other areas that need it. Springs Road is another one. You've indicated that Springs Road had some new businesses that have come in. I think that we should be looking at that. Now, it may be 6 months or a year, for 6 months, and then another 6 months you add another unit or another area. But I think we should be putting that on an agenda for discussion.
I agree. So the item would be discuss exploration of other areas such as across the freeway, East Vallejo business districts.
Maybe what could happen over time is that as we focus on one geographic area and then another, maybe we develop a template or a checklist. And going back to my mantra of property owners, in some cases it might be who owns the shopping center we're talking about, or shopping centers.
Yeah.
And we talk to them as well as the businesses, and we offer the range of incentives if we have any to offer. And just, I think it could be systematic and quite powerful to do what you're saying.
Great, okay. No, so we'll put that on the agenda for next month, Commissioner Harrell. Commissioner Garcia?
The other thing I just wanted to piggyback on the East Vallejo, I think it was either earlier this year or last year, I requested to put on the agenda a report out and information from staff on the baseball field that is in East Vallejo. It is on Benicia Road.
I actually replied to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's becoming housing.
So we're not
It's a
getting
housing
any other
development.
report out other than that?
We did it happened already, like months ago. We reported out. Actually, I knew already because my sister-in-law lives on that street and they got notifications in their mail saying that that construction would be done there. It's already been approved and that apartments are going to be.
But we received a staff report. I requested a staff report on that, so we did get that?
No, we don't need a staff report to say that
Well, I'm
housing-
requesting one. We can discuss if we don't need one, but I'm requesting one.
But I had answered the question, so I don't know why. Do we still need a staff report if we already had the information? And is that something the staff would report on, housing for a baseball field?
So from an economic development perspective, I think it's reasonable if you all want to know an update on something new that is going in. This project is called Rollingwood, because that's the corner, the street, one of the cross streets. It is going before the Design Review Commission, I think.
Planning.
It's where on Monday? DRB?
Planning just met on Monday to hear the item, but it got continued to next month's Planning Commission meeting.
Got it.
Great.
So certainly, I think that staff could request a written report to the commission on the status. It doesn't have to be heard at a
Long.
meeting or somebody come.
Sure.
But if the planning director or the planner who's assigned to this project can just do a little blurb to you to let you know what it is,
Sure.
give you a map, show you the area. It's a big piece of property there. The development takes up a portion of that property. Another portion is owned by the city. So there is, we could ask for that sort of basic overview and timeline.
Thank you for acknowledging my request.
But was there a reason why you needed a staff report? Is it something to do with the work plan?
I think I'm asking because you asked us if there were things off of the work plan that we were interested in, and I'm raising something that I had surfaced, and I'm asking for an update on it. So I don't think that that's is that
No,
not
I'm only
out of
asking.
turn?
No. I'm only asking because I gave the report back on it on the dais, and everybody was kind of
And
done with
I
it.
think- and I
so
think what
I didn't
I'm-
know that it was. I had no idea that it was actually
And
something that needed to be brought back.
Well,
to
and I
the
think that's
agenda.
also why I resurfaced the idea that we should be revisiting these future agenda items, because I think what I heard is that there are actually updates about this, potential development that we could really benefit from, should the commission be interested. I am here as part of the agenda proposing potential future items and having a discussion. We were invited to raise future agenda items that were not necessarily in the work plan, and I just did that, so.
I know, but I guess my question is, the day that I gave the report out about that, it was assumed that that was the end and the information was.
I did not assume that. So I think that's the thing that I'm clarifying, and it's also the reason why I requested that maybe it would be good and in our best interest as a body to revisit those items that we request as future agenda items so that we are all clear on what that is, because I was not clear on that.
I agree.
So I appreciate that, and thank you so much.
And we can discuss that at the next, you can agendize it and we can discuss what the step 2 would be to that. Like, what action would we take? If we're going to agendize something, we need to take action on it. So what would we take action? Is it just for discussion, or what would we take action on?
Well, I don't think I know enough about it to take action. I think it's typical for bodies like this to receive updates.
Let me, may I, Madam Chair?
I agree. I just really want to end the meeting at this point, but I just want to say, we have to be also respectful of staff's time, and.
We're out of here.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry to
not-
interrupt.
not-
We're out of here an hour early.
I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about their regular work schedule. Everything that we give them, they are obligated to research.
It's their job.
Obligation. No, I agree, it's their job, but I think that it's best that we look at the things that we can move forward, the things that we can actually affect, rather than just asking for information because you saw that you asked for something a long time ago and you don't remember the answer to it. This
Through the
meeting is
chair.
adjourned.
I'm sorry. Really?
Seriously.
What is the protocol, City Attorney, What is the protocol for the adjournment of a meeting without agreement that the meeting should adjourn? Does the chair have the authority to close a meeting without a quorum or a vote under these conditions?
So,
Well, you don't have the autonomy to make that
so
decision?
I must admit, I don't have Robert's rules in front of me, or Rosenberg's rules in front of me. I can pull it up if you give me a minute. Normally, you would ask for a vote on that if you, let me look at it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Fuck this. I'm gonna get on their ass
I
in a
just
minute.
feel like you're asking questions to be combative at this point. We're all here trying to get work done and push things forward, and it's a lot of discussion
Legislative
about...
processes
it's
are
a lot
combative.
it's a lot of combativeness and a lot of sarcasm and a lot of passive aggressiveness, and I just don't understand. If we're all here to serve the same purpose, why are we at each other? Like, why is it a back and forth? Like, we're here all for the same purpose, to move Vallejo forward, to create an economic vitality in the city of Vallejo, to create economic development, to help businesses come here. It does not behoove this city for people to watch video of this commission, the Economic Development Commission, complain and bring up things from the past about what happened here and what happened there, and complain about the city. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And this was told to me by somebody who was higher up than me in the city of Vallejo, that our meetings are watched by potential builders, by potential employers, by people who want to invest in Vallejo. But if we're constantly talking about the negative and not moving anything forward and complaining about procedure, how does that help Vallejo? How does it help Vallejo for us to do that? It doesn't. So, like, let's come here and move our work plan forward. Let's come here and discuss who's going to be on the subcommittees and who wants to do the work, rather than complain about how something was worded or how something happened or whatever it is. We're here today. We have a work plan. We have a budget. We are, like, in such a great place to move forward with everything we want to do, but we're sitting here complaining about the past.
Well, I'm not sure if I heard complaints. I'd like to address something, though, that came out with this discussion, and that is this build-out that's taking place with housing in the Rolling Wood area. That type of information as an update is extraordinarily valuable to this commission, and especially to those people that are involved in the Business Retention Committee, because are the businesses that are located in the Glen Close Shopping Center aware that they're going to have an influx of X number of clients or X number of potential customers? So I think that one of the things that happens is when you close things off, in a discussion, you don't get to really the meat of what is being asked.
Commissioner Harrell, we already discussed it.
I'm not
That's what I'm
discussing
trying to
anything.
say.
I'm not the party to which that should be addressed.
The Rolling Wood issue, we can pull it up in the old videos. We discussed it. I gave the update. I said I actually gave the update, not Yvette. I said this is what's going on. It was not asked to be an ongoing update. It was just, I gave the update, I said it's going to be apartments, and then that was it. No one asked for it to be a continued update. No one asked for anything else. It was the end of the discussion. So now we're, Commissioner Garcia is like, no one ever told me, but that's not true. I brought that. Whether you wanted it to be from Yvette or me, you should have stated then, no, I want Yvette to give us her staff report, but you didn't. You just, that was it. That was the end of it.
Chair Lufus, just to level, again, I'm just requesting the information. I'm resurfacing the information that I requested. It sounds like we can do that in a staff report. There's no complaint. I think I'm genuinely interested in what's happening in my neighborhood, which I think is what would be typical of a body like this. So I'm frankly a little bit confused at how we got to this part of the conversation. So that is the one suggestion that I would like.
I agree. I'm confused on how we got to this situation. We were talking about a work plan and subcommittees, and next thing you know, you're saying you were never given this information when you were given the information. I just want to state that you were given the information. It has nothing to do with poor Yvette, who has a million things on her plate. When I said I will give that update, I gave the update. It has nothing, she did not do it. I just want to put that on the record. I gave the update, and that was the end of it. It was never asked for her to, at any other meeting since then, to bring this back. So I agree what you said. You didn't know, you missed it, and we should all be looking
Chair,
at old film or old notes to say that we need to make sure that the things we're asking for are getting done. But I just want you to know that Yvette has a list of every single thing we've spoke about today. When we create the agenda, sometimes things don't get through on the agenda, like she said tonight. Then she will give us an update in her staff report on things that did not make the agenda. Sometimes it has nothing to do with her. Maybe planning didn't get back to her. Maybe they didn't have the proper information. Sometimes it isn't just laziness or just the will to not do something. It's because the information wasn't there. Now, Yvette is putting into place that she will give us that information when she's unable to agendize something, when she's unable to get information on something. That will come back to us, and that solves the problem of everybody or people missing things from the agenda that they thought were going to be agendized. I think that solves it. So that should be the end.
I appreciate you acknowledging my suggestion. And Sharon, just to clarify, Secretary, I'm extremely appreciative of your work. As you know, I am a recovering bureaucrat myself, and have had the fortune and misfortune of being in very similar shoes. So I understand and really recognize the work that I think that you're doing. Certainly my request for a report on what I have come to know as the Rollingwood development, I still think I would like to see. It does not need to be an extensive report. It could be an update. I don't think that anything I've requested is unreasonable.
I'm sorry, just a quick question. I
argumentative.
was wondering if you would be okay if
You're
the
argumentative.
planning director or the planner just sent you a status on that project by
Would be-
email and didn't put it on the agenda. Is
Would
that
be
okay?
great. That's
All right.
totally fine. Fantastic.
Do we
Thank
have
you,
a
Attorney
motion
Neb.
to adjourn?
There is a question that was was given to the city attorney to answer. I believe she's doing the research.
She just gave the answer.
I didn't hear the answer relative to
It was
the
a-
process
it
of
was a-
adjournment.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Good.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? Second. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Do you have the answer to the question that was asked, Attorney Yep?
Perfect. I was just.
Or does that have to be on the record?